Hello everybody and welcome to Parks Bros. It's Drew here, and it's that time of year again. We are going to be putting down our 2020 predictions for all of the Six Flags parks. So as of the night this video gets posted, as well as the day after, we will be finding out exactly what each park in the Six Flags chain will be receiving for the year 2020, which is just around the corner as of now. And the next 24 to 48 hours are going to be quite insane with finding out what every Six Flags park in the chain will be receiving for next year. But I will be going through every major Six Flags park. I will not be talking about the water parks today. So the Concord Park, the Phoenix Park, as well as the Houston Park, I will not be mentioning today at least. But let's get right into this with the park that's actually farthest away from me, and that is Six Flags New England over in Massachusetts. And this is one of the parks that is celebrating its 150th anniversary next year. So I couldn't see anything less than a bigger addition for the park, and in all honesty, I think a great fit for the park would be a launch coaster. Now I'm guessing this will either be a premier launch coaster or an S&S. I'm leaning towards an S&S launch coaster like Max Force, and I think it would be a fantastic fit for the park. We'll really just have to wait and see though. But I do expect the year 2020 to be a big year for Six Flags. I could see them pulling off something in the realm of what they did in 2000 with adding 20 coasters in 1 year. Now, I don't think they'll actually end up adding 20 coasters, but I could see this year being a lot bigger on expenditures than in the past couple. But I do think that Six Flags New England will be receiving a launch coaster next year for its 150th anniversary, most likely an S&S. Now moving on to the next closest park, and that is Great Escape. Now for Great Escape, this park really hasn't gotten anything huge in the past couple years, but I can see them getting a little step up for next year. I was originally thinking it could potentially be an S&S 4D FREESPIN, but I'm honestly thinking it will be a STARFLYER, which is one of those clones that has been at multiple Six Flags parks in the past couple years, and I think it would be a great fit for the park. I would love to see another coaster come into the park eventually, but I think 2020 just isn't the year for it. I'm thinking more on the lines of a STARFLYER, and honestly, I have a lot of predictions including a STARFLYER, so don't be surprised if I mention that name a couple more times in this video. Now, the next park I'm going to talk about is Six Flags Great Adventure, arguably a top park in the chain, and it's definitely up there with Magic Mountain as well as the Texas parks as one of the biggest parks in the chain. Now, it's been a long time coming since a giant coaster and a custom coaster at that has come to the park after its huge stretch of new rides in the early 2000s, but they are definitely getting a coaster. That is without a doubt. They have been teasing the most out of every single Six Flags park, and I'm guessing it's going to be an RMC Raptor with a custom layout. I think it'll be the tallest, the fastest, and the longest RMC Raptor. Whether it's dueling or not, I'm not entirely sure, but I definitely do think it's going to be an RMC Raptor. I can't really think of anything else. I would love to see this be a premier launch coaster, kind of like in the vein of West Coast Racers or Full Throttle, but I do believe that an RMC Raptor will be coming, even though I think a premier launch coaster might be a better fit. But nonetheless, I think if it is an RMC Raptor, that's definitely a park I'm going to have hit up very, very soon. Now, next on this list is Six Flags Darien Lake in New York, and I'm actually kind of unsure on this addition. I don't think it'll be the biggest thing. I'm guessing more in the veins of a Zamperla Endeavor, just like the Endeavor added to Six Flags St. Louis as of last year. I think it's a fantastic flat ride, and it's not the biggest thing, but it's definitely not the smallest. I think it's got a lot of bang for its buck, and I think it would be a nice fit at the park, as long as they don't have that ride already, but I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, of Darien Lake's lineup of rides. But next up, we're going to the Great White North in Quebec, and that is to Ronde, and I actually think this will end up being a INTAMIN ZACSPIN, as in Green Lantern First Flight. I'm sure it will be rethemed, but I do think that the ride from Magic Mountain will be shipped all the way to Ronde and will be finding its new home there. The ride takes up little space, and also it will be a great bang for a buck attraction. They just have to pay for shipping it over and reinstallation. And in Canada, I'm sure they could change a couple elements of the ride that may have hindered it in the US. So hopefully Green Lantern First Flight will take flight again up in Canada, and I think it would be a great fit for the park. It's not as big as an SNS 4D FREESPIN, and I don't think they really have the room for that anyways, but I think it would be a fantastic fit for the park. And we'll see if it'll actually have the success that the other ZACSPINs in Europe have if it gets moved to Ronde. Now, the next park is Six Flags America over in Maryland, and I am actually thinking this will be a Zamperla Giga Discovery in the same vein as Crazanity at Six Flags Magic Mountain. I think this will be a great fit for the park. It's another solid flat to their lineup. Now, I'd love to see a brand new coaster come to the park, but I just don't think it's time as of yet. So I'm thinking a giant or Giga Discovery for the park Six Flags America next year. Now moving down to the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia, we're going to Six Flags over Georgia to what I think will be an SNS 4D FREESPIN, taking up the old spot where their Shoot the Chute was, and I think this is a great cloned addition. I love these rides. I think they're fantastic. But I think it's definitely another coaster to add to the lineup for sure at that park. I think it'll be a great addition for sure. But I really couldn't think of any other thing that would be going there. At least this year they got a giant or a Giga Discovery last year technically, and Twisted Cyclone and RMC coaster the year before. I think honestly these three additions in a row would be a fantastic fit for over Georgia and would bring a heck of a lot more people to the park. Now let's move over to Six Flags St. Louis, and this is going to be an interesting park for me. I actually think this will be a cloned Raptor coaster in the same vein as Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster. I think it would be a fantastic fit for the park, a great new coaster for the park itself, and honestly, it would give me a real solid reason for going to visit Six Flags St. Louis, because as of right now, my biggest reason would probably be to ride Mr. Freeze, and that's about it, at least that I can think of, besides seeing how bad Ninja really is at that park. But I mean, I think a Raptor would definitely put the park on the map for a lot more enthusiasts in the Midwest, and I think that would be a fantastic fit for the park. Now going up north a little bit, we have Six Flags Great America. Now something they haven't added to that park in specific in a long time is something to their water park, at least nothing substantial, and I'm thinking they will end up adding a water coaster. The last time Six Flags did this was, I believe, at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, but I think this would be a fantastic fit for the water park. And considering they just got Max Force last year, I don't think they'd be adding a new coaster to the land park, and I think a water coaster would be much better fit for the ever-growing Six Flags Great America. Now heading back down south, we have Six Flags Frontier City, and for this park I'm also thinking potentially a small flat, and just because they ended up receiving a brand new Kids Land as of last year, that they won't be receiving anything massive as of this year. I would love to see another coaster, but it is one of the smaller parks in the chain, if not in the top 3 smallest. But I could totally see a Zamperla Endeavour showing up at the park. I think that will be the next major cloned model. And if that's not the case, I could actually see an SNS 4D FREESPIN at the park at probably the park's best. Now going down south a little farther, we have Six Flags over Texas, and we already kind of know what this park is receiving, and that is a MACK Power Splash coaster. So that will be an awesome fit for the park. You'll get wet, it's also a coaster, and it's a multi-launch coaster at that. So it'll be a fantastic fit for the park, and I can't wait to experience it, hopefully very soon. And then going farther south, we have Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, the ever-growing park in the San Antonio area. This park has been pelted with new additions that have been fantastic every single year in the past couple of years. And I don't think that's going to end up stopping. I do believe that potentially this park will be getting a quite massive coaster, and I do think it will either be an SNS launch coaster, which I think is kind of not the best fit for the park, but still a pretty solid fit, or potentially a B&M dive coaster. This is kind of a surprise in my mind, at least, but I'm thinking they could potentially pull it off. They are ending the amazing projection show on the quarry wall for this next year, so I could see something going over that wall in that section of the park, and what better to fit there than a B&M dive. Now, this is kind of out there, honestly, especially for price, but I could see Six Flags going for it at Fiesta, Texas. It would potentially be one of the best coasters there for sure. That drop off the quarry wall would be amazing, but also an S&S coaster would be amazing as well, but I'm thinking more in the veins of a B&M dive, even though Six Flags has not worked with B&M since 2012 with X-Flight. Now, finally getting down to Mexico, we have Six Flags Mexico, and for this park, it's kind of a toss-up for me. They did receive an S&S 40 FREESPIN as of last year, but I'm not entirely sure what this park is truthfully missing, besides potentially an RMC Raptor, but I think the park will probably not get that. I'm guessing more in the veins of another flat ride, potentially a STARFLYER if they don't have it, or another ENDEAVOUR. I think that's really going to be the next cloned ride for the chain. But if they're to get a coaster, I could totally see it being a custom layout Raptor. But I'm not going to lie, Six Flags Mexico is quite a question mark for me as of right now. Now we're into California, and that means we're at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. I believe that this park will either be getting a spinning coaster or a family launch coaster. I know, kind of a surprise after this park has been getting pelted with amazing new rides, one after the other in the past couple years, but I could potentially see this being a family launch coaster or a spinning coaster, both family coasters, I would say. But this is definitely going to be one of the parks that Six Flags is going to start putting more and more money into, especially with California's Great America not that far away, getting a huge push of its own in the past couple years. But I would love to see a family launch coaster at the park. I think it would be great. All the other launch coasters are shuttle loops as well, and they are not family friendly, as in Flash and Intamin Impulse, as well as Superman, which is a Skyrocket 2 from Premier. Now, what manufacturer? I'm not entirely sure, but I would love to see a MACK launch coaster potentially that would stay low to the ground and be able to cater to families as well as thrill seekers. Now moving to my home Six Flags park, as in Magic Mountain, I think they will be receiving the world's tallest STARFLYER. Now, is this the best fit for the park? I'm not entirely sure because there is a lot of wind in Valencia, but we will just have to wait and see. I think it would be a great fit for a new flat ride, though, for sure. I would love to see Zamperla ENDEAVOUR at the park, but it is Magic Mountain. They're going to go big or do nothing. So I could see definitely a world's first 500-foot tall STARFLYER to get more tourism to the park for sure. Now, where they would put it, I'm not entirely sure. I can't see them putting it in the DC Universe area or the Metropolis area, but I'm not entirely sure on a place they would put it otherwise, to be completely honest. But maybe in that old Deja Vu plot, that would be kind of a nice space and build to the underground a little more, but we'll just have to wait and see. I think, honestly though, for Magic Mountain, it will be a world record tall STARFLYER attraction. So there you have it, all of my Six Flags predictions for tonight and tomorrow. Let me know what you think of some of my predictions down below. I'm definitely not the most knowledgeable about some of the parks and what they've gotten in the past couple years, but that's because either I haven't visited them or just haven't paid enough attention to them in the past couple of years because I knew I wouldn't be able to visit them. But I'm really interested to see what you guys think will be coming to all the Six Flags parks, so leave your comments down below. But thank you so much for watching. I will have a reaction up tomorrow of everything that gets announced. But until next time, we'll see you on the next ride.